Emily, congratulations on getting to the grand final. How do you prepare a team for the biggest game of all?
Yeah, obviously I think all of the preparation that we've done up until this point will all go into this game. I don't think there's too much you're going to change within a week. Like I said, it's been months and months of hard work on the pitch for the girls that they need to then collate and put it out on the big stage.
Well, you've knocked off one of the big Melbourne teams. Now here comes the other one, right? How do you stop this good run and this juggernaut of a club at the moment?
Yeah, obviously we've played against Victory a few times this year, and they're always close games with us and Victory. We obviously played them in the finals last year, couldn't get the job done in normal time and beat them in pens. So for us, we've spent a lot of time this year looking at them as it is. So again, we know a lot about how they'll approach the game and how they'll play, and it's just down to the little tweaks that we can make tactically to overcome some of their strengths and to make sure that we expose some of their weaknesses.
Well, you guys are so close to achieving your dreams now. What is it about your Mariners this season that it's all kind of clicked and you've got there?
I think from the first day there was always a belief within the group that no matter what the sort of scoreline was, that we could always bounce back from it and come back from it. I go back to the first time we played Melbourne City and we came back twice from behind. I think that belief at that point it's just been with us all season. And obviously we had a small period there where we had a couple of poor results in a row, but we always had belief that we were going to come back out of that, and we came back out of that, in my opinion, in the perfect time and gave us a really solid run into the finals, which has obviously given us confidence then going into the elimination final and then coming into the semi-finals against Melbourne City. And we've got to continue to take that belief into the grand final with us as well.
Emily, when you signed on at the beginning a couple of years ago, did you envision reaching the grand final so quickly, 2 seasons in?
Yes and no. I always had the belief in the players that I've picked that they can do something extraordinary, and they have done that. Obviously, you don't anticipate for things to happen this quickly, but I thought, after the back of the season, the first season we had in the competition, I knew that we could go one better. Whether it was going to happen this year or next year, I wasn't too sure, but I always had the faith that if it give us a little bit more time, that we could really, really achieve something fantastic together. And credit to the players that they have been fantastic this season, and they've done it.
Have you asked the girls this week to maybe make it a little bit less stressful and score a bit earlier, not wait till the 121st minute or whatever?
Yeah, we do have a habit of that, leaving it until a little bit later on and being a bit more of a second half team. So I don't know if that's going to change going into the grand final, but obviously I'd love to hope that, we do score early on. But you know what, things can happen quickly in football. If you go up early, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything. So for us, we'll just continue to concentrate on what we can control and see if we can take the moments when they come.
Obviously the grand final is front of mind, but your name has been mentioned in circles talking about you as potentially a future Matildas coach. Is that in the back of your mind anywhere, Emily?
To be honest with you, no, absolutely not. I've always been the type of person who just takes every job as it comes. I'm not much of a planner. I'm not somebody who particularly really looks into the future, which is probably not the strongest point of my own. But for me, I'm fully concentrated on being at Central Coast Mariners and doing the very, very best that I can with the players that I have here, and whatever happens in the future happens in the future. But for now I'm fully concentrated on the Mariners and what we can produce this weekend.
What about Matilda's assistant? Is that a career? Do you see that in your career progression?
Yeah, look, like I said, you don't know what opportunities can come your way, and again, I've certainly not thought about it, and it's not something that I'll go out and actively seek. But it's definitely like I said, opportunities come, and when those opportunities come, it'll give me something to think about. But until that point, I'm definitely firmly happy where I am.
Are you a bit of a visualiser, Emily? Like, do you see the team arriving back here with a trophy and seeing the school kids again maybe next week?
Oh, I definitely have faith in the group that I've got, 100%. I was so determined that the last 2 weeks that we had weren't going to be our last two, together. And I just had this gut feeling that, we were going to be back here training this week, whichever way it ends up happening. Do I envision us with the trophy? Absolutely. I back these players all the way, and I know we have the quality to do so. Obviously, again, I've just got great faith in the group that we have.
Melbourne Victory's probably thinking, thanks Mariners for knocking out City, because they've been the team to beat and they're great rivals, and I guess you're going to turn up and show them otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. We've always been classified as the underdog everywhere we've gone. Even after how well we did last year, I don't think anybody anticipated us to do as well as what we have again. So I certainly, I think we enjoy being the underdog. We enjoy not nobody having faith in us, and we kind of use that to give us a little bit of fire in our bellies. So we'll continue to use that and let it help us.
And you're representing the whole club, the whole coast this year, because the men didn't have a great year, right? Does it feel like those fans are getting behind you as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The fans have been terrific all season, and whether it's getting behind us or the men, we're one club at the end of the day. The men have had 2 phenomenal years pre this. We've made our 3rd grand final as a club in 3 years. I think that's a phenomenal statistic considering the type of club that we are. And like I said, I'm super proud of the whole club, and I'm really looking forward to the fans that we are going to have travelling down there. I'm looking forward to seeing them and hearing them, because they have a phenomenal voice when they get behind us.
What's training look like? Obviously, this is second day back on the pitch. What's it sort of look like in these early stages of the week?
Yeah, there's obviously been a lot of recovery, having played 120 minutes for a lot of the players. There's been a high emphasis on recovery and making sure that players are rested and ready to go for the game. Obviously in there with drip feeding little tactical bits and concentrating on areas where we want to attack, or whatever it is that the group needs at this point. But we'll slowly enter the rest of the week, giving them more and more information, and come the end of the week, I think they'll be ready.
Just one loss in our last 8. It feels like momentum's really starting to build for us. Does it feel like that for you, and is that something that we can really take into the game? I know people are talking about the unbeaten run of victory, but we've got momentum of our own, right?
Yeah, 100%, and everyone's unbeaten record has to come to an end at some point, as we found out this weekend. But it's one of those things for us. Like I said, we went through a poor patch we didn't win a game in 5. We came out of that patch, and there was a lot of concentration for us around our mentality in that area, and managing games and making sure we could see games out, or whether we needed to change things in order to give more numbers high up the pitch. Whatever it was that the game needed, we've kind of been there and worked on it, and I feel like that's really helped us prepared for these finals, that we do have the ability to be flexible and adaptable to whatever it is that the game needs, and that's what I love about working with these players, is that they're not rigid in the way that they go about things. They're willing to be open-minded and to work with ultimately whatever I ask of them.
Someone like a Taylor Ray, who's obviously been in a number of grand finals for Sydney FC. She's obviously had some great experience in the competition, but also players like Jade and Brooke, who have played at the top level overseas as well. How important is their, experience going to be to maybe settle the nerves of sort of some of the younger players who, this is their first time on the big stage?
Yeah, it's like I said, having that experience throughout the group is incredibly important, because that's where young players learn. As much as us coaches like to think that all players learn from us, it's not. It's from the players around them as well, and that's why it's important to have a really good balance of experience and youth, and especially for these big moments, because as you've seen in the final series, the players that have stood up are our more experienced players. They're the ones that have got on the score sheet. They're the ones that have taken critical moments by their own hands. So they are really important to us, and I know that the younger players look up to them and go to them for advice, and I think they'll get an arm around them and get them to settle going into that grand final. But I think amongst the team we've got a fair bit of experience within finals, so that'll be really, really important for us coming into this game.